I like to keep it real. You understand? Turkey is not a country whereby you can put your eggs in an uncertain basket. They might break it. I said, with Turkey, you can pay for the citizenship and get it in probably under a year. These places, they do not offer citizenship outside. You can't buy this. You have a Airbnb licensed apartment in Kadikoy, in Beşiktaş, in Beyoğlu, in Şişli. These are places that tourists and foreigners like to stay.
Okay.
So this is great.
If the landlord doesn't return the deposit after the lease ends, what should I do? Okay.
You don't go to the places like Büyükçekmece at the end of the world and say, oh, I want to...
That is something too.
yeah, I want to rent an Airbnb in Büyükçekmece. It just doesn't happen. What they didn't tell him was that the area that he was buying the apartment was closed.
Oh, for residents?
Residents.
Oh, wow.
Now the government has shored up some of those loopholes for them to be able to take advantage of it.
Right. Well, let's say a family of 4 wants to move to Istanbul, right? To settle here. What can you tell them about education, healthcare, and community support?
It's very easy for somebody to come and be like, oh, I want to buy an apartment right now. You can't just buy an apartment right now.
Can a foreigner, really buy a property in Turkey without stress? Keyword, without stress.
Yes.
Today, we have here Mr. Samuel Adebayo.
Yes.
He's been to the real estate business for over like 12 years. He's quite experienced in Istanbul and in other countries as well. I'm just going to let him do an introduction for himself to talk about what he does before we dive into our conversation today.
Okay, so it's nice to be here. Thank you for having me on this podcast.
Yeah.
My name is Samuel Adebayo. I am the marketing director and sales for Siyah Agents Consulting. So we opened this company about 5 years ago to help our African brothers and sisters, basically our clients, to navigate the real estate market in Istanbul, what they can invest in, how they can invest, and especially what they shouldn't invest, because that's also important. I've been here for 12 years, been hustling and bustling in the city of Istanbul. It's a beautiful city, one of the most visited cities in the whole world. But we'll get to that later. It's nice. Thank you for having me here. So let's get straight into it.
Yeah, thank you for honoring our invitation to the RandomChidi.
Anytime. Anytime.
So, I think the big elephant in the room, right? What made you, pack your bags and say, you're coming to Istanbul? What was that thing that made you leave? Because you're in Istanbul and obviously you left Nigeria, you said like 12 years ago, you get here like 12. So what made you make that decision of coming to Istanbul?
Well, I originally came to Istanbul for education.
Okay.
So I graduated from political science and international relations at Istanbul University, one of the good universities in Istanbul.
Okay.
It's widely recognized. So since then, I've been living life, been trying to find my way. Met a woman, had a child.
Okay.
Yeah, so I have been teaching English for a bit as well, for a while. But the first time I came into this country, I think I could always remember telling myself, at least I feel like the first month, I said, I'm going to sell apartments in this country. That was like the first month. I don't know why it came to me, but I was just like, oh, look at all these apartments. I've always loved real estate and the mystery behind real estate. Everybody's always been shouting. You've seen people get rich and you've seen people lose money on real estate. So it's a zero-sum game, you understand? So you either do it well or you do it very badly. So, but real estate has been one of the pillars of investment over the years. And so after school and after teaching for a while, I met with my partner, Mexi, So we decided, let's try this out. So one thing got into another, and we started selling real estate in Istanbul.
Wow. So was that always the thing? Even when you were Nigerian, were you always like thinking of real estate while in Nigeria, or it was when you got into Istanbul that that idea came to your head?
Actually, no, that was not always the thing. You know, we all have our parents that be like, oh, you must be a doctor,
Okay.
a lawyer, an engineer. So my dad was an engineer. My dad is an engineer.
Civil engineer or
It's sort of a mechanical engineer. He builds great, big projects. So
okay.
so they can like mechanical projects for big companies.
Oh, okay.
So my point is, it was not the plan. Obviously, I came here to get an education. I didn't know what I was gonna do.
Masters?
No, just BSc. Yeah,
In what?
in political science and
Oh
international
wow! What
relations.
what a jump!
So I was like, and you know, to be honest, when you graduate in political science and international, people are like, what do you want to do?
You want to be a politician, I guess.
What do you want to be? Because there's no set job for, except you become like an NGO or a politician. So there's not really a set job, or else you become a teacher, a lecturer in the university or something.
Okay.
So it was later, after doing all of that, that I realized, well, let me try something else. You understand? And before we started selling real estate, actually, when we came, I had a friend, Samson. We would help. He spoke good Turkish early during his time in this country, so he spoke good Turkish. So we would help our friends find apartments and rent the apartments for them, do the whole process, even with the residence permit process as well. So we've been doing residence permit process for a long time. So helping them get the documents together because he spoke good Turkish. So through him, I learned to speak, not so good, but good enough Turkish to understand and communicate. So we did this in tandem with get your apartments and get your residence permit also.
Okay.
So it was something that was what first brought me into real estate in Turkey. So how it works, how you talk to the agents, what the kind of agreement you make with them. I didn't really know much about selling, to be honest, but I knew well enough about renting.
Oh, okay.
And helping people rent their apartments, talk to agents, get the papers done, what they want, what they will need to be able to rent an apartment. So yeah, that's basically how it started with real estate in Turkey.
You know, I was gonna say something there, but you already mentioned it, that you had a friend who could speak Turkish. But my question was gonna be like, how were you able to navigate that, knowing that language is a huge barrier? Like coming from an English-speaking country to a country where I'm sure 12 years ago English wasn't like a thing, right? So
in Turkey,
how were you able to
ago,
navigate that?
12 years ago in Turkey, English was nothing. It was a foreign idea to them to even start learning English. They had some English schools, but now you could see English schools everywhere. Back then, you had to go to places like Shishis, to find like
English schools.
Yeah, English schools, like real English schools. So most of the English schools started less than 15 to 20 years ago, started to become big. The old ones were really small. You understand? They were like boutique schools then. But now you find English school every so it was not easy at the time, because you not only had to deal with the language barrier but the cultural barriers as well. Oh, I don't want to rent an apartment to this person from this country and blah blah blah. So it was a lot of hurdles, but we were able to do it because, as they say, money talks. So once you pay the price, you get the apartment. That's the thing.
So you know, coming from Nigeria, where I am from there as well, I know it's quite an open market. It's a free market. Like anyone can go there and just sell anything, right? What was something that you learned from there that when you came to Turkey helped you in the business terrain, that you were able to, like, you know, speak to people, you know, sell apartments, rent apartments to people? Was there anything any similarities that helped you survive the business terrain here in Turkey?
To be honest, if I am being very honest with you, I'm not really the kind to want to speak to people. The job required it.
Yeah.
You understand? So it's not like I was this outgoing person. My friend Samson, on the other hand, he could talk to you for hours and just have this conversation. Yeah. But I was just watching and learning what I could get, what I needed. So whenever I needed to speak to people, I got straight to the point. Like, this is what I want to do. This is how we're going to do it.
Yeah.
Does it work for you?
Okay.
So it's still the way I conduct business. So it's not like I just go and start. Yeah, but as you grow into the Turkish culture, you find out that, yeah, they would really like to sometimes get to know you and blah 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 and what you want, what you are about. So they want to talk to you. So at that point, I started to like change a little bit, like make friends with a lot of real estate agents. I was always good with the local agents. So even before I got to the projects, the big project, I was always very good with the local agents, like communicating with them, helping them.
In what? In Turkish or in English?
Yeah, of course, in Turkish as well. We understand the language of money. You understand?
Okay.
It's always the language of money. Like, I wants to do this, he wants to do that.
Yeah.
If you pay this, he will pay that. Is it good for you? This is the contract. You understand? You wrote the contract. You translated the contract. All of those things. So it was just about getting straight to the point with me. So it was later that I realized, okay, the Turkish culture required that you sit down and drink some chai. You understand? So that was basically how it went before me, actually.
You know, but I would say that's kind of like a bit similar. It's kind of like the same with Nigeria, by the way, because
Yeah.
in Nigeria, we are not very direct with business. You always need to know someone,
Of course.
go out somewhere, you know, chill with the person, and then before you can now start talking business. I think people will feel more comfortable doing business with you when they've had a couple of drinks with you, when they've hung out with you and stuff. Like, I think it's always like that in Nigeria as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because people have to feel comfortable with you before they can do business. Imagine the agent that is in charge of the house, right? You are the one who knows. Knowing you gives him the confidence to like give the house to the person you bring.
Yeah.
You understand that? Like, Abe, I can vouch for this person.
Oh, okay,
The
yeah.
house is going to be in good hands. Like, I know you, so this is why I'm renting it to this person. So that's basically how it works in Turkey. They have to be able to trust you. Like, I've worked with you so many times, and I've not had problems. Even when there have been problems, you have always stood tall and made it known that this is not the way. So that's how it goes, actually.
Yeah. Okay. So let's go into the buying of properties, right? So I see this a lot. I see on the internet, oh, own a property in Turkey, own a property in Malta, own a property in Italy. There's always all of these ads on the internet, right? So can a foreigner, you know, really buy a property in Turkey without stress? Keyword, without stress.
Yes, because you said without stress, I had to relax a bit and think about my answer. This is the current situation. If you ask this question maybe 7 years ago, 8 years ago, I would have said zero stress. You understand? But because of the regulations, and which are supposed to be anyway, which were supposed to be in the past,
Oh, okay.
but they weren't. So this regulation caused that they were able to make new rules and new policies, which made it not difficult, not stressful, but which made it that you had to go through steps to acquire Turkish real estate.
Okay.
Before, you could just bring your cash and then exchange cash, shake hands at the
Buying property.
tapu office, the title deed office, and buy the property. But now there are steps that involve the municipality, the banks, that you have to go through, some currency exchange procedures that you have to go through. It's not the end of the world. It's not that stressful, but it's something that you have to go through to protect the government and to protect you as well. Because over the years, there have been bad players in the market, you understand, that will take advantage of unknowing tourists, unknowing foreigners, which there are in every country. You understand?
Yeah,
There are always those people that feel like they're smarter than you, so they will take what's yours. So the government has shored up some of those loopholes for them to be able to take advantage of you. You understand? So they can't really do some of those things, because by the time you go from the municipality to the bank and get all the documents that you actually need, you will be able to like verify the legibility of what you want to buy. You understand? So that is exactly why they made these policies. Not because they wanted to make it harder, but because they wanted to protect
The buyers.
investors and the buyers. Yeah, so that's why.
So is it possible to like name some of these things that were not there before that have been implemented now that makes it big, adding more steps or more verification steps to the point where someone wants to get the acquire property?
Remember, like I said before, you could take cash, meet the owner of the house, meet them at the title deed office. They ask you, have you seen the money? Yeah, I've seen the money. Exchange the cash and to shake hands, take your title deed. But now it's a process whereby you go to the municipality with the intention that I want to buy this house. You go together.
okay.
And so the owner of the house goes and takes the tax deeds and everything. We call it right bedele. So the house value and everything, the value papers, they take it. Then you have to have an account. So even if you don't have an account, there has to be a way for the bank to take money from you, convert it through the bank of the owner of the house.
So that has to be from the local account.
Yeah, that has to be from the local account. So the money has to come from where it's recognizable now,
Okay.
and then to the bank account of the owner of the house. You understand? So, and then you go through this process where you get the Doviz Alumbelgesi, that's the currency exchange document, whereby they give you the currency exchange documents maybe after a few weeks, maybe after 1 or 2 weeks, depending on how fast the bank is. That proves that this money is going to this seller of the house. So this is the amount that this person wants to buy this house from the seller. You understand? So it's sort of a proof of the banks that this transaction for the sale of this apartment went through. These were not there before. Even if you were using a bank account before, this was not the procedure before. You could just send, like, let's say for example, bad players, like bad actors, for a house of 1 million, 2 million, you can send 10 million. I want to buy this house for. So money laundering was aided before.
Yeah, okay.
Things like fraud was aided before, but now it's much more difficult to launder to be a bad player in the market. You understand? To do something unscrupulous with the sale or the business that we want to do with person. So they've made it more, I wouldn't say difficult, but just less easy for you to fraudulent activities to go under the radar.
Oh, okay.
As you would know, according to the news recently, 451 investors lost their citizenship.
451.
451 investors lost their citizenship.
Why?
Because of fraud.
They bought from the wrong seller.
They bought apartments from the wrong seller who knew what they were doing. So of course you had to have an amount, 250 at that time.
$250,000
to get the citizenship. But there were loopholes whereby they would be able to shore up your money even if it was not complete. You understand? So it was something that was introduced to us, but we rejected it because we know that when the people, when they open the papers and when they actually start digging, they will find all these loopholes. You understand? They will find all these activities that were not supported at the time. So it was now it's become a big thing whereby 451 citizenship were rescinded,
revoked.
Were revoked due to those activities that took place not now, a long time ago.
Wow.
So it's easy to get into this situation, but that's why it's very important to do it step by step and to make sure you're doing the right thing. People who did it the right way don't lose their citizenship. But if you did it the wrong way and you know you did it the wrong way, or you met a real estate agent who just wanted to take money off you, understand, get the deal done any way and anyhow possible. Of course, when the time comes, you're going to face the music. So they're facing the music.
Wow, that's great. 451 people. So let's say they had paid like $180,000, now to 250. So they've just lost the money and lost their citizenship.
Well, they haven't lost the money because the apartment is still theirs.
Okay. Oh, they can sell it off.
They can sell the apartment.
But how much are they going to sell it? They can't sell it up to that amount.
Yeah, look, like I said, it's real estate. If you buy a real estate in a good location.
Okay.
It doesn't depreciate. But the reason why they bought the real estate in the first place is because of the passport. Now they've lost the
I had a
passport.
lot of passport.
So you understand. So it's not basically about the real estate. These people, they could afford 250. They could afford
They can
400.
afford. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but they wanted the passport.
They
That's
wanted
why
the
they
quick-
did the whole process. Now, no passport, but you still have the apartment. So anybody looking right now, the sensible thing would be to maybe reinvest and do it the right way, or sell it off, because the reason why you bought it in the first place
It's lost.
is lost. So
Okay, so for let's say a Nigerian or a foreigner coming to Istanbul, what would you advise? Rent first or buy?
that depends. Why do you want to buy? This is why I ask the question.
Okay.
I always ask the question, why do you want to buy? Do you want to buy to live, or do you want to buy to rent?
Okay.
So obviously, if you want to buy to rent, you can buy and live inside. You understand? So you have to rent and then buy. If you're rich enough, you can buy two. You understand? Yeah, live in one and rent. That happens as well. But basically, if you want to buy to rent, maybe you are just an institutional investor who is not in the country and you're buying from outside. So obviously, you can buy to rent. You get your rent anywhere you are in the world. That's fine. But if you are buying to live, that means you have to at least be somewhere first. That's why Airbnbs are around.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
So you have to be somewhere first, because it's very easy for somebody to come and be like, "Oh, I want to buy an apartment right now." You can't just buy an apartment right now. You understand? You have to do some research, and we are here to do it for you. But we are not going to tell you, "Oh, don't worry, we'll get it done right now."
Yeah.
No, we have to find you the property that is not going to depreciate. You understand? Even though we know that you want to buy to live, you might decide to leave the country later. You have to be able to recoup your money back. That is what, at least for me, that's what is most important. So if I go out there and find a property for somebody, for a client, I have to make sure that that property is something that I would invest money in. You understand that if I invested money in this property, I expect to at least break even or make profits
When you're setting up.
when I'm selling it off. So this is what is important in our line of business at Siyah Agents. And we've been very lucky with the few clients that we've had to help sell their apartments. They've been able to break even and even make profit, because we found locations whereby not really, they were not extravagant properties, but they were in great location. You understand? At the time. So as the currency grew, their value grew. So we were able to sell them. So like I said, you don't just come and say, I want to buy a property. You come, you rent a place, you relax,
Okay.
and then you think about why you want to buy this property and what kind of property you want to buy. Because that's also important. Do you want to buy a high rise? Do you want to buy from this new projects? Do you want to buy the whole apartments in places like Kadikoy? Do you want to live? Do you want your apartment to be in Kadikoy or on the European side or the Asian side? So these are very important questions that you need to ask yourself. Do you want it to be in a place where tourists frequent?
Yeah.
Do you understand? Or do you just want to get your rent, like normal monthly rent, and be done with it? Or do you want to do it in a short-term business like Airbnb and stuff?
Airbnb.
So these are the questions that you need to sit down and answer. And we can sit down together and answer that before we even start digging into the markets to find what we want to buy.
Okay, so you mentioned something there about people thinking about the purpose of buying an apartment, right? So what would you say is one of the biggest mistakes people make when they want to buy a house? What's the biggest mistake would you say?
This is actually interesting because I've had to sort out a few messes that I didn't get people in, but I've had to get them out of it. Let me give you an example. There was a client, he wanted to buy the apartment for the residence permit.
Oh, okay.
So it was around 90,000 at the time, which was great before it became 200,000. What they didn't tell him was that the area that he was buying the apartment was closed.
Oh, for residents.
Residence permit.
Oh wow.
Now he bought the residence permit. He bought the apartment at the normal price, showing the normal price on his title deed, which is very high. Most people don't do that. They make it a bit lower, so that at least that because of tax purposes.
Yeah.
So he showed the normal price on the title deed, and this was a problem because you had to make an agreement with a Turkish person that you would pay some of some of the taxes because it was so high. So you understand. So people make a lot of mistakes just by not getting enough information. You understand? Get the information. Don't rush into it. The first thing is, of course, I'm a consultant too. I'm an agent, so I want to make a sale. Zero. That's proper. That's my job. But at the end of the day, I want to tell you what is going on. You understand? You deserve to know what is going on because at the end of the day, you're gonna come back to me and say, "Oh, you showed me this apartment. You didn't tell me all of it." So to prevent that, we give you all of the information first, and then we let you decide what you want to do with that information. With our help, of course, we let you know. Okay, this place is closed. This place is open. This place is filled with tourists, but old apartments. This place, like Beliges, is filled with new apartments, but we have to take the rental as a monthly because we wouldn't get too much visitor. So we give you all the information, and then you decide maybe you want to go with the whole apartment, but with more money, or you want to go with just a normal rental and get your monthly rental by month. So it's not a process whereby you make a call, find me an apartment. We sit down together, let you know what is happening in Turkey in terms of real estate right now, and then you can decide with us whether you want to move forward or you would rather just do something else with your money because that's also an option. You understand? But like I said, it's not something you rush into. And a lot of people, we as Nigerians, we do something which is very funny to me. Yes, we have the money, but we don't ask for the information. Like, what is this? What is this? Okay, don't worry. And the agent will be like, don't worry, I'll get you the residence. I've heard so many, I'll get you the residence permit, not getting the residence permit. You understand? And this is the problem because people don't just buy this apartment just because they love the apartment. They buy it because they want to use it for a purpose. Maybe to be able to stay in the country or maybe to even get the citizenship. But if they don't, there might be even situations whereby the consultant you use might mess up your citizenship process, which would cause you not to be able to get the citizenship because they didn't do the due process. So there's a lot of mistakes and a lot of things that happen before and after you buy the real estate. So that's why they call it, we call it something, after sales process.
Processes, yeah.
So there has to be continuous communication between you and the client to assure them and let them know that things are going smoothly.
Yeah, so I think I have a question here that is I guess a lot of people have that too. What's the difference between residency by investment and citizenship by investment? What's the difference?
Well, residency by investment is basically you getting the residence permit, but for 2 years every year till you're eligible for the citizenship.
Okay.
That takes a while, around 5 to 6 years. You'll be eligible for the citizenship.
Okay.
So you have to get the residency concurrently and make sure the apartment is still yours under your name. So this is the reason why you do it. That's why they call it residency citizenship investment by
Residency by investment.
Sorry,
Yeah.
because you want to invest, get the residence. So the citizenship is a different course. You pay the money for the sake of buying this apartment and getting the citizenship ASAP. So it takes around 6 months to 1 year just to get the citizenship. Minimum 6 months, maximum if there's hurdles to cross 1 year. So the citizenship is mostly an immediate thing that you are able to get, almost immediate. But the residency takes a while and it takes more paperwork than the citizenship.
Oh.
Yeah. So because the citizenship, they know already why you bought this. through the process with the banks and everything. Yeah, this is for citizenship. Yeah. So that's mainly the difference. You get to stay in the country either way, but the citizenship is more money than the residency. Basically double the money.
Double.
Yeah, of the
Because I was
residency.
going to ask that.
Yeah, that's 200 and 400.
Oh,
Yeah, so basically you pay more to get what you want as soon as possible. That's all.
so the residency by investment is around $200K
Yeah.
dollars.
Yeah.
But citizenship by investment $400K dollars.
Yes.
Interesting.
That's how it is.
So I think one of the interesting questions that I would ask is, so the citizenship, so the residency by investment, are you guaranteed to get that residency every 2 years? Are you guaranteed?
Yes. As long as you do the process correct.
Okay.
You understand? I keep putting,
Say that,
I keep, because it's very important to make sure your paperwork
it's right.
is right and it's in correlation with what you want to do. A lot of people will come to you and like, oh, I want to take residency by citizenship. This is why we have lawyers. Understand? We don't give the residents. We give you the apartment that is viable for residents. And then we call in our consultant lawyer to let them know this is the apartment, this is the price. Now it's your job to turn this into a citizenship for this person. You understand? So I won't sit down here and be like, oh, I'm the one that's doing all of the process. No, we have partners in every arm of the process. From the local agents that we know that are in charge of some of the apartments that we need, to the lawyers that will run down and forth, back and forth to make sure that your documents are correct.
Okay, I think you don't, I think from your profile, you also help people with investments in Dubai, Portugal, Greece. Is it citizenship by investment or residency by investment?
Okay, so these are some of the services that we have recently incorporated because, of course, we have to always move. Can't stay in one place. And the Turkish real estate market, if we are to say how it is, it has been a bit redundant in the last few years.
Okay.
Basically in line with the economy, the way the economy is. And while it is still a buyer's market, which means you can get good deals right now, it's always good to always look at outside and make new friends, look at new partners.
Yeah.
So even if our clients decide that they don't want Turkey to be their first option, we can offer them also other places, other location advantage. So right now we have programs for Portugal, for Dubai, the Caribbean, of course, Caribbean, and for Spain as well. So around 5 countries in the European Union, Latvia, Malta, and for Dubai as well. But the difference between these programs and Turkish programs, Turkey, like I said, 400, you get to 60. These programs start with residency, strictly residency.
Oh, okay.
So they do not offer you citizenship till at least Portugal, as of recently, 5 years. But now they are in discussion to extend it because the European Union is on their neck. You know, they like to protect their heritage and everything.
Yeah.
So they're on their neck about the process and why the programs. So some of the other countries have recently closed down some of their programs as well. But Portugal is in discussion to make it around 7 to 10 years. For Spain, it is 10 years. So you get the residency concurrently, and then you'll be eligible for citizenship in 10 years. So for some other countries like Malta and Latvia, 5 to 7 years. But the difference is, like I said, with Turkey, you can pay for the citizenship and get it in probably under a year. These places, they do not offer citizenship outside. You can't buy this. You pay for the residence. And most of these places, what is important is that you can't buy properties. So you either have to invest in some of their cultural programs or invest in the government funded programs or get an actual investment whereby you get some returns back. So you get those investments are in places like Portugal and Spain. where you can get some returns back on your money, or you have to invest the money into the country. You understand? So these programs are backed by investments as well. So you have to also put your money in the country. Money speaks. So you have to put your money in the country in the sense that this is what I want to do with this money. Understand? Because anybody can put money into the country, but if you don't have a mission for the money, I want to get a residence, I want to get a citizenship, I want to be able to come outside of in and out of Europe with this money that I'm investing in this government program, in this cultural program. It might be a problem later because you could just invest for no reason.
Yeah.
Once you get consultants, that they are consultants which are our partners that do this job, that do this work. We are backed by the EU and backed by a lot of governmental bodies that they gave them the license to, like, this is what you do. They offer this service. So they tell us, look, these are the programs that are available. Like for Portugal, we have the D1 to D8 programs. So they are under those programs, they are different. Like the ones where you are a student, the ones where you can be an entrepreneur.
A student can be like can do residency by investment.
No.
Okay.
D1, like I said, is D1 to D8.
Okay.
Some of them are residency by investment. Some of them are just people moving, changing location.
Okay.
So the students, the entrepreneur, the startups. So these are programs that also involved in all of this thing. But the main thing about it is that you have to be useful to the country.
The country, yeah.
You understand? So it has to be a use me, I use you kind of thing. So it's not like you just like, oh, I don't have plans, I just want to go to Europe. No. Even if you're a student, you have to pay them. You understand? So you still have to pay. If you're an entrepreneur, you're making money. They know, okay, you have the papers to prove that you're an entrepreneur. Money is coming from your business today. You have a bank account here. I can survive in this country without becoming a nuisance in your country. You understand? So these are very important.
Yeah, it has to be mutually beneficial.
Exactly.
So I think it's similar to something that they have in the UK, which they call the Global Talent Visa in the UK.
Exactly. Okay. A lot of European countries are opening up to those programs right now. Germany, Portugal, the UK as well. They are Spain, Italy. They are opening up to this. Well, basically, I'm a realist. I call it as I say. They want to poach.
They want to poach, yeah.
So they want to poach, but you have to have something poachable.
Yeah,
you understand. So, and if you are able to get in one of these programs successfully, it's always beneficial because, of course, you want to move and you want to move to a better space as well.
Okay, so residency by investment, right? Or citizenship by investment. I would say, is it for the rich, or can the normal 95 do that?
So, what we like to say in our business, it's for high net worth individuals. It's just being honest. I wouldn't want to waste my time and your time. It requires a hefty financial burden, like investment, for you to be able to involve yourself in these programs. So you have to at least have been able to make something of yourself. Understand? Say, okay, I want to drop 250,000 euros in Portugal in a government-backed program that I might not get anything but residents. So, of course, people do it all the time. People who don't have a problem spending that money, or that they just need the second residency, need second passport. They come to us and like, money is not a problem, but I only have a Nigerian passport, or I only have like a Ghanaian passport. They need to have a second passport or a second residency in case I want to like move away from them. So anybody can make money, you understand? But it depends, can you use that money to get what you want? You understand?
So there's no like mortgage plan, like pay little by little until you pay for everything. All of these programs is pay cap.
Well, there's a certain program in Portugal. If I remember correctly, I think it's the D7 program. The D7 program. That is where you have to have a minimum of 36,000 a year to live there.
Okay.
So that is also a program for somebody Well,
Working class,
working class, 9 to 5. So if you have a minimum of 3,000 to spend every month,
3,000
euros every month,
Uh-huh.
times 12, that's 36,000. Make sure you just have 36,000. You can be able to survive in Portugal for a year. So there's a program for that as well. Like I told you, it's not just about iNet. They made for the iNetwork and the people that are just looking to move. So you have the student one, the entrepreneurship, the startup one, this one that I just talked about. And there's the retirement one as well for people who have a retirement that want to move and
Okay.
retire. So it's not just for the iNetwork individual, but if you want to get the premium, you pay the premium. You understand? So that's how it is.
Okay. So hypothetically, right? Let's say a family of 4 wants to move to Istanbul, right? To settle here. What can you tell them about education, healthcare, and community support?
Well, let me start with community support. We have a lot of community here in Turkey. It takes some getting to know people, of course. But as you know, we have a community here.
Yeah.
We have the church, we have the get-togethers and everything. So community should not be that difficult if you're an outgoing person. We have the African group as well.
Yeah.
Various ones. So community support is something that people will get. Understand? But for health, we all know Turkey has some of the best health institutions in the world. So if it was to be in a health situation whereby they're moving so that they can take care of somebody, that would be amazing. Transportation is great. Everything else is great. For the family, it would be just if you have the money. You don't want a situation whereby you're running around for a residence permit for one person and uncertainty. If you have the money, the best thing to do is either do the residency by you or just outright buy the ticket. And the citizenship will cover you and your family.
Oh, okay.
So it will cover the 4 of you. Under 18. Over 18, you get the residency first, and then you get the citizenship later. But the citizenship and the residency also will cover you and your family because you are able to stay in the country with a level of certainty that normal people, let's say tourists, are not able to do because in their application depends on the mood of the government. You understand? So this year you might get 1 year, next year you might get 6 months. So it's not something that happens when you have invested the right way and followed the right steps. So you can be able to back it up, even if something untoward happened, you can be able to go to court with it. You understand? But if you're just getting an uncertain application with your family, the government has the right to give or not to give.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's not something set in stone like, if I come to Turkey, they are giving the residency, so I must get the residency. You and I have both experienced a lot of people this year, last year, that didn't get the residency. They had to leave. Yeah. So it's not something you come and say, I want to bring my family here. Turkey is not I like to keep it real. You understand? Turkey is not a country whereby you can put your eggs in an uncertain basket. They might break it.
Yeah.
You understand? So now you have to have a situation whereby I have a colleague. His situation was he's a teacher, right? And they were supposed to renew his work permit last year. And for some reason, the school let him down. And they had to pack up his family in 10 days and go back to Iran.
Oh, wow.
So his family is in Iran. He's back here. He's working on another school. He's back here waiting for the work permit as well.
Wow.
But he had to pack up his whole life in 10 days and just move out. That's the uncertainty that I'm talking about. Once you get rejected, you get in flight mode. You understand? So if you have the money, if you feel like I can do this, like I'm financially well off to do it, it's a good. If Turkey is your choice, like I said, and even if it's for rental, Turkey is the most visited city for the last 3 years. So there will always be people coming here to rent houses.
To Istanbul.
There will always be people coming to Istanbul. So that tells you that there is a market. And if you were to be like just a normal investor that wants to make money, Istanbul is a great place to make money, but in the right places. You don't go to the places like Newcomers at the end of the world and say, "Oh, I want to."
That is something
Yeah, I want to rent an Airbnb in Newcomers. It just doesn't happen. You come to places like Kadikoy,
yeah.
Beyolo, the Besiktas, and then you can find good apartments, good projects that are they're just built because they're just renewing some buildings as well. You can find a good, not cheap, but affordable project, and before you know, you're making good money because you are in the center. You are where your property is where it needs to be. You understand, to generate that kind of rental income. You understand? So you might have a beautiful condo in the but it's not going to generate as much income as probably a 1+1, a small 1+1 in Besiktas because it's Besiktas, it's Kadipod, and Büyükçekmece is far. That's
All right. Now you mentioned that a couple of, I think 2, 3 years ago, I met this American girl that came to Istanbul, and she told me that she bought an apartment in Beylikdüzü, and I was like, "Girl, you came to Istanbul and tried to buy an apartment in Beylikdüzü. What's the return on investment?" She's like, "Ah, that she didn't know." Like she was actually speaking like she regretted doing that because there was number one is far away from the center, and
And she doesn't even live there.
yeah. And to even use it for Airbnb, it's going to be difficult to get people to rent that from Airbnb. So it's quite a dilemma for her.
Well, I'm glad that you and I live here and you've heard some of these stories. That's why I repeated that anything you want to do, let them talk to you. Let them give you enough information about it. Because like I said, it's a buyer's market right now.
Yeah.
Because of the way the economy is. Most Turkish people prefer to keep their money in the banks, right? Which means the house prices are great right now for you to invest. But don't invest blindly. We at Siyah Agents, we would rather make the clients happy. You understand? Because we are Nigerians. One thing we understand is the value of return.
Returns, yeah.
You understand? Nigerians, like, if we say something in Yoruba, Wojola, look at tomorrow.
I did ask some questions online. I asked for people to send in their questions.
Sure.
So I'm just going to read out a few here. One of them is, this is a bit about rental, though. It's about rental, right? So he asked, if the landlord doesn't return the deposit after the lease ends, what should I do? Okay, so that question, I know that in Turkey, when you rent an apartment, you need to give a deposit.
Yeah.
And usually the deposit is times 2 of what the rent of the rent, right?
2 times.
And when you're leaving the apartment, the landlord is supposed to return that to you. And I recently heard that if you're leaving the apartment after 3 years, they prorate it based on how much the value of the house, maybe the value of the lira has fallen or something like that, and they give you that amount.
Yeah.
So he's asking that if the landlord refuses to give you that deposit, what should he do?
This has always been a bone of contention for me and my clients.
Okay.
For me and the people I've rented apartments for.
Yeah.
Because to keep it real, you are deserving of a Turkish person is deserving of their deposit, just like you, just as you are.
Yeah.
But the problem is, when you're a foreigner, the owners of the house, the landlords, rarely want to return the deposits.
Why?
So, because it's a cultural thing. I can't tell you why. It's a practice. It's a bad one, but it's a practice that has been like since 12 years I've been here. I don't know how many people I know that have actually gotten their deposit back. Because it's just a thing that happens. Now,
I did get mine back when I moved.
Like I said, because you know some people.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they were able to help you.
Yeah.
So the first thing, like I said, make a Turkish friend. Make a Turkish friend. Let them tell this person that I will get my deposit back, or I will spend the time alluding to that deposit in that house. So if you don't give me my deposit, I will spend the extra 2 months in that house.
Okay.
So, but it's very important for you to talk to somebody who knows the real estate and how it goes. The most thing I've found to do for people, some of my friends, when they come, is like, just threaten them with a lawyer. Tell them you call your lawyer friend so that they can, and they will talk to them. Or else it's going to be a big trouble because they have to give you the deposit. In some cases, if the house is messier than you left it, than you met it, you can get one deposit. They can use one deposit for renovation to pay. Yes. But you have to at least get one out of the two deposits back. So you have to make a Turkish friend, just a Turkish friend that likes you enough to help you with it, or get a lawyer. You understand? But it's more expensive to try to get a lawyer and to get this. So, and you know us as Nigerians, we don't really take anything too personally. It's not going to give me a deposit. Let me just go. But some people want their deposits. You understand? So I can understand the question of why the person asked the question. So, like I said, make a Turkish friend or make a lawyer friend.
Okay, so another question from online. This lady, she asked, with the fact that a house has a tourism license, which allows Airbnb rentals, increase the market value in Istanbul. 2 years ago, I think there was a law in Istanbul that when you want to use a house for Airbnb, you need to get some sort of documentation
from the municipality
and all of that. So, so she's asking that when an apartment or a house has that license, does it increase the value of the house when you want to sell it?
Like I said before, where is the house?
Okay. I don't know.
So that's that's a rhetorical question. Where is the apartment? So if you if you bought an apartment like say, facing this water, facing this sea right here, yeah, definitely. You have a Airbnb licensed apartment in Kajuko, in Beşiktaş, in Beyoğlu, in Şişli. These are places that tourists and foreigners like to stay.
Okay.
So this is great.
Okay.
But like I said, if you go to the other end of the world,
where Airbnb
is not that lucrative, it doesn't really matter because anybody first of all, a Turkish person is going to buy it. And they are the main ones that will buy it for you. And secondly, they are going to use it for like institutional renting, like normal renting that they do. Take money every month, sign a year contract.
So the Airbnb doesn't
really matter to them. They're like, why are you telling me this? But if you tell somebody, maybe another foreigner, that okay, this house is licensed for Airbnb, which is why its prices. I've already done the work to get the license, which is why I had it to this price and that. So they would value that more than the sense of saying it to a normal Turkish person. It doesn't matter to a Turkish person who already wants to rent it for a normal, do the normal 12-year monthly rental. But it matters to somebody who needs the Airbnb rental. You understand? First tip is, please try to get to know the country you want to buy an apartment.
Okay.
Understand? Just do a little bit of research about the city. It's all there on the internet. I'm not saying we won't do the work for you. Of course, you will come to us, we will do the work for you. That's basic. But I like for somebody to tell me, I've checked some places. I've seen some of the areas that on the internet, they said that it's a popular area. Because most of the time, if you want to invest in an apartment, you're not investing because out of the goodness of your heart. You want to invest to make some money. Or you want to invest in the sense that you want to live in a great place.
Okay.
So try to find out a little bit. Now, the second part will be that find a good consultant. Understand? Find a good consultant, like somebody who has your own best interest, who wants to make sure that you get what you want and not what they want. You understand? Because some people, like for me, I don't have any apartments in my hands, except for the ones that, of course, that I manage for my clients. I don't really manage any apartment. So if you were to come to us, Siyah Agents, and say, you want to buy a house, it's a neutral thing for us. We have to find you the best thing. The best apartment. We have to find you the appropriate apartment for you. And we don't care who we have to step on. We don't care the next we have to step on to get it. Because We are not obliged to anybody. We are not loyal to anybody. We are loyal to our clients. You understand? That is the difference. Some people work for companies. They are loyal to their companies. Some agents work for companies. So they have to sell an apartment inside their organization. So they might force an apartment on you that you don't really need, or which is not appropriate apartment for you. So find a good consultant that does not really put their own self-interest over your own self-interest. So that is number 2. Number 3, do the due process. You understand? Depending on what you want to do, make sure that you always follow up with the process and ask questions all the time.
Don't skip steps.
Don't skip steps. Don't let them tell you, oh, it's going to be fine, it's going to be fine. No. What is going to be fine? If there an issue, what is the normal step to solve this issue so that it won't reoccur in the future? So these are the due steps, the due processes that follow it. Follow them up all the time till you get to the end, because there's never really an end. You understand? It's like a for life partnership, because you're going to come back to the agent when you want to sell. So make sure that the agent that you are going to be working with for a while, for a long time, is somebody who holds you in high regard enough to do the job well for you.
One more question before I go on to the next question that our previous guest left. So the question is, what does success mean to you?
That's a deep question. What does success mean? Well, success is relative, I guess, to different people. I have the small ones and I have the big ones.
Okay.
But generally, success to me is when I know that I've done enough. You understand? When I feel like, this thing that I did, this job that I did, it was a great job. And we were able to close this, we were able to do this. And when I'm able to at least provide for my family and just not a lavish life, but we live a good life. We're okay, and everything is great. I have great health. So success is relative to a lot of people. Some people say I have to make one goal before I feel successful. And some people just, like me, I just want to have enough.
You and your family.
For me and my family, and live a good life. Be able to afford what I want to afford at the time I need to afford it. Not being penny strapped at any point in time. So that's success to me. Just living a great life and being able. Of course, everybody wants to be rich, but I don't want to be rich to the point whereby I forget the humanity side. I just want to be able to live a good life with my family. That's success.
Usually in the podcast, we always ask our guests to leave a question for the next guest, right? So you're going to leave a question as well for the next guest. But our last guest, Bigosu Demiro, lawyer, and also a legal tech law, a lawyer. She left a question, right? So I'm going to ask you the question, and then when you answer the question, you leave your own question for the next person. So the question she left was, when you were a kid, was there something you did or used to do that came to you so easily that people could interpret as a talent, right? Could like look at you and be like, oh, that's a talent. You did it so easily, right? And are you still doing that today as an adult?
I don't know. I don't like to call it a talent, but there is something about me personally that makes people want to tell me things.
Okay.
So I have found it out since I was young that people just want to like confide in me and tell me things.
As a kid, who were telling you things?
Yeah, like the big things that they wouldn't really actually want to tell other people. Like they felt safe enough to tell me things. So and I found out like as an adult as well that it's still continuing to today. I could meet somebody right now and I could learn something and I would be like, even as a person who likes to be confided in and who, I don't know, I wouldn't say I enjoy it because sometimes it's
a burden,
it's a burden, but I'm like, why are you telling me this? Just let me. So that is sort of something that I have. People want to tell me things. Things about themselves that are very important that maybe it would take them far longer time to tell somebody else. I feel like I have a talent to unlock people.
Okay, you're the key to
Yeah,
people's souls.
yeah. Which that's going far. Which has helped me also in business
Mm.
because most of my clients trust me to do the right thing. You understand? And I have been able to stick by that notion as well. Of, you can
Yeah.
trust me to do the right thing.
Yeah.
So that's why I've been, I think, relatively in my own small circle of space, I've been successful in this real estate business as an athlete, doing a business
Yeah,
in a
that's
very difficult
in a place where language is a
language is a
barrier,
barrier.
and the whole settings, business wise, is I think it's quite really closed. In
Yeah,
Turkey.
yeah, it's really close and it's really rigid. So
Really,
yeah, so it's something that it's a battle every day. But once you have the sort of knack of letting people relax around you
getting
and
people's trust
getting
easily,
people's
yeah.
trust, it helps to them to tell you why they want to do things and what you know what they're thinking. You understand? Because they tell you.
So now you have to leave a question for the next guest.
Huh. The next guest, what question would I have? I think for the next guest, I just want to know what makes you you. Do you understand? What makes you who you are? How would you define yourself when the going is good and when the going is not so good?
Okay, that's another deep one. Huh? Okay, Mr. Samuel Adebayo, thank you for coming to
Thank
the
you very
show.
much for having me.
Thank you for like
It's
sharing your knowledge with us.
it's been great. It's been great.
And hopefully someday we'll be able to afford some of the apartments that you sell.
Someday soon.
It's very soon.
Yeah,
Very
very
soon.
soon. Make it soon.
Maybe I'm gonna come around and say I want to get an apartment in maybe in Shantashi or in Bayolu.
Yeah. And for anybody watching, everybody watching this, we have a comprehensive website for you to be able to get more information. We have siyahagents.com, which I'm sure Chidi would put in the video, and siyahagents.blog as
Okay.
well, where we share just information about relocation plans and how you can relocate to countries that are accepting their procedures, their policies, right?
Yeah.
So there's enough information to get you started on whatever you want to do moving on in life.
So you don't get lost.
So you don't get lost. So the information is out there. Just go on the blog, go on the website. It's right there. You get it.
All right. So you heard from him that siyahagents.blog for information to read.
And siyahagents.com to get in touch with us.
Oh, okay. I think you're also on Instagram as well as
We're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, we're on TikTok, and we're on LinkedIn as well. So we're everywhere. Basically.
All right. Thanks a lot.
Thank you
for your time.
very much for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you.